good day, Sir Pete, and to people watching this video. My name is Alaisi Bonsilaya, a second-year computer engineering student from Mapua University School of Electrical, Electronics, and Computer Engineering. Enrolled in the course of CPE103L-4, Section C1, under the instruction of Sir John Peter Ramos. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate and explain the SQL queries or SQL queries for Laboratory Activity 4. First, we need to export our datasets, which is namely Employee BG and HR departments. For our first requirement, the condition is to find the total salary of Project Management Department with age more than 25, no duplicates, as PM_dep_salary. First, let us do a select and use the sum function on the employee salary to get our total. Since it is required, we should name the column as PM_dep_salary. Then, we use from to pull our data starting from HR department's table, which I gave short alias of BP. Next, I use inner join to connect it with the employee BG table, which I called BG. We link them together on their matching ID columns. Finally, I use where clause with two conditions. I use the like operator for project management to automatically catch the project management department. And I set the second condition so the employee's age is strictly greater than 25. And here is the output for the code showing our calculated total salary for the department. Moving to the second requirement, the condition is to find the number of employees older than the CEO using count and name the column as older_than_CEO. First, let us do a select and use the count function with distinct on our employee IDs so we get a unique head count without duplicates. Since it is required, we should also name the column as older_than_CEO. Then, we use from to take our employee BG dataset as BG1. I used an inner join to connect it to the CEO's department in the HR department's table, and a second inner join to connect it back to the CEO's personal age record in Employee BG. Finally, I used a where clause to compare the two ages, making sure we only count people where the regular employee's age is greater than the CEO's age. And here is the output for the code displaying the total count of these older employees. For the third requirement, the condition is to show the count of each citizenship in the organization, aside from Filipinos. First, let us do a select on the citizenship column so it displays next to our numbers. Then, I use the count function on the ID to find the total number of people. We retrieve this from the HR department's table and inner join it with the employee BG table using their ID keys. Next, we need to filter out our data, so I used where clause with the two conditions using the not like operator first. Then, to remove any blank empty text using fill to filter out anyone with a Filipino citizenship. Finally, to make sure the counts are divided up by each specific country, I used the group by function on the citizenship column. And here is the output for the code, which lists each citizenship and their respective head counts. For our final requirement, the condition asks how many employees have a salary grade between SG15 and SG20. Let us do select again using the count function on the ID to get our total head count, and name the column employee_count_salary grade. We extract this from the HR department's table and use an inner join to connect the employee BG table on their matching IDs. Then, to filter out the specific pay ranges, I use the where clause with the between operator. I specified SG15 and SG20, all the employees falling within that exact salary grade range. Here is the output for the code showing the final count of employees within the specific salary bracket. And that is all for Laboratory Activity 4. Thank you for watching this video.